Hello and welcome to the highlights from round 4 of the Tennent's Premiership and Tennent's National 1. Fortunately, a few games were postponed this weekend, but there's still plenty of action for you to sink your teeth into at home. For starters, we're heading to Belgrade, where Glasgow Hawks hosted Musselburgh. Both sides came into this one with identical records, winning 2 games and 1 loss each so far this season. Hawks looked to dominate from the start and got the first points on the board after 13 minutes. Ali Rogers opening the scoring from close range. Hawks were then awarded a couple of back-to-back penalties. The first they kicked to extend their lead to 10. The second they opted for the scrum and their gamble paid off. Scrum half Finlay Burgess darting in to score. Things went from bad to worse for Musselburgh when they were temporarily reduced to 14 men, Rory Hindhall the man being sent to the bin. Hawks made the extra man count, adding a third try, capitalising on a poor 22-metre dropout. BURMs ran the ball back at Hawks and set up Stewart to barge his way through. The bonus point was secured before half-time. Straight from the kick-off, the ball found its way to Fraser Gossey, who travelled a fair distance with ball in hand before releasing Joy to finish. BURMs converted all 4 tries and added a penalty of his own to give the home side a half-time lead of 31 points to 0. After the break, Hawks continued their onslaught, BURMs scoring from close range to bag a try of his own. Musselburgh eventually got themselves on the scoreboard after 51 minutes. Winger Sandy Watt found space on the right-hand side to go over. Hawks weren't done yet though, and they added their 6th try of the day, McLean touching down after a solid drive from the forwards. The visitors hit back with a maul of their own and were awarded a penalty try for their efforts. The Hawks pack bringing down the maul quite cynically in the end, and they were reduced to 14 men. Musselburgh added their 3rd try of the day in the final 10 minutes. Gregor Tate taking advantage of quick turnover ball to go over, capping off a determined second half performance, but it was too little too late to trouble the Hawks, who ran out comfortable winners in the end. There were 3 other matches in the Tennent's Premiership. Jed Forrest made the long trip up to Aberdeen and were rewarded for their travels. It was an extremely professional performance from the visitors, especially considering 8 players were under 19. A credit to the coaching setup at Jed. The visitors ran in 9 tries, including a brace from prop Paulo Ferreira. At Rayburn Place, Edinburgh Accies bounced back from their defeat 7 days earlier. The tries were flowing from both sides with 10 tries overall, Accies outscoring their opponents 6 tries to 4 in the end to cap a dominant display. Mar recorded their first away win of the campaign at GHA in a relatively scrappy encounter. Unfortunately for GHA, it's the 2nd game in a row without scoring a point. For Mar, it was very much job done, and their victory means they lead the way at the top of the Tennent's Premiership, closely followed by Glasgow Hawks. Jed's victory over Aberdeen Grammar lifts them off the bottom. Selkirk and Curry were unfortunately postponed, but they will both be hoping to return next week. Curry hosts Accies in an all-Edinburgh derby, while Selkirk travel to GHA. To Tennent's National 1 now, and with the Ayr bigger match postponed, it was a good chance for some of the mid-table sides to gain some ground on the front runners. 2 sides looking to close the gap were Highland and Boroughmuir, who met each other at Megaland. The home side opened the scoring, Tom Gracie touching the ball down after some solid work from the pack. Highland hit back shortly after. Rapeni Rocco Duguni the fastest to react at the breakdown to go over. The visitors then went in front. Ross Thompson's persistence paid off, pouncing on the kick through to score. Highland added another shortly after. Ben Morris this time the man capitalising on the bouncing ball. Boroughmuir did reduce the deficit with this penalty from James King, but Highland did not let their lead slip. A well-worked set-piece allowed Sean Blair to barge his way over. And the rout continued into the second half, Gordon Gregor getting his name on a score sheet with this try. Owen MacDonald added Highland's 6th try of the day, capping a spectacular all-round team performance. There were a number of other matches in the Tennent's National 1. Despite a promising first half performance, Stirling were unable to get their first win of the campaign. In the end, Kelso were too strong and came away with a win in a match which saw the first drop goal of the season from Kelso's Dwayne Patterson. Elsewhere in Tennent's National 1, there were 2 other matches which both happened to be Edinburgh versus the Borders. The sides from the south coming off the better in both fixtures, with Melrose putting 80 points past Watsonians and Gala beating Heriots. Kelso's win lifts them up to third ahead of Ayr, and at the bottom there are still 3 teams searching for their first win. Looking ahead to next week now, and there's big games at both ends of the table. Watsonians travel to Cartha Queen's Park, both sides still looking for their first win. At the top, it's first against second, with Biggar hosting Melrose. So, 4 games in, and it's still too close to call in the Tennent's Premiership. In Tennent's National 1, however, Melrose look to be the early front-runners. That could all change though this weekend with some big games at both the top and bottom of the table. Join us next time, same place for all the action. We'll see you then.